Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel where we talk about superheroes in the video game context and all the stuff that's involved with it. And today with me is podcast aficionado, Mr. Fat Ninja DM. We're going to be talking about the state of superhero video games and where we would love to see this, this direction go. But before we even jump into it, Mr. Fat Ninja, go ahead and introduce yourself to the community so they can know who you are if they are just new here.
All right, I am Fat Ninja DM, 23-year dungeon master of D&D and other various role-playing games, comic book nerd, superhero nerd, just all-around nerd. Love to talk about anything nerdy. And once again, big shout out to Gamey Daddy for allowing me to be on this journey with him. This is a honor and a privilege, and my mission statement is this: social enlightenment through positive gaming. Because you never know, the person that you're cool with online, that may have been the only time that day that somebody was nice to them. So just think about that when you're online. If you don't want to help somebody farm, somebody needs help farming for something, go ahead and do it. Uh, if somebody needs to be carried in a raid or something, if you got time, go ahead and help that person out. Just try to be nice to people in gaming space and in life. So without that, that out the way, gaming. Let's go ahead and get into this.
All right. So today we want to talk about kind of the state of superhero games and where we see it going. And I think we have to first start out with some really strong context. The very strong context that we have is Sony owns the Spider-Man, thing. They got it in terms of the cinematics. They think they may have gotten some other licenses where they can make some video games and all, but that's on that side. The other Marvel stuff doesn't seem like anybody has kind of a hold on it. Disney now has, Marvel. So when they did the Marvel's Avengers, that game was just a looter shooter and eventually has ended up in a weird place in terms of what a game like a superhero game should be. They tried the live service approach, and I think that's failed. And probably a lesson teacher for everybody that wants to put their hands in a video game. They have to probably make it in the traditional sense. And then now you also have Warner Brothers as the conglomerate under AT&T, under all the big companies that own the Batman and DC franchises. And even AT&T and T and all the others, they are in they're in a financial struggle right now. Apparently they have $150 billion debt, and they're about to release this Gotham Knight game next year, and also are planning to release a Suicide Squad game in 2022. If there's still money left in the bank, we'll get that Suicide Squad game. But the Gotham Knights game, we're most likely going to get, if you get what I mean. So, because the main superheroes now lie in the hands of very few players, already we're going to see a sparsity of superhero games. And I think that's why Marvel's Avengers was a big opportunity that was just missed from the developers. I thought that game was going to be much more. I didn't know that the game was actually going to not be something that appealed to the Marvel community, in that sense. So now that I've said the context, Mr. Fat Ninja, do you think this has deterred or will deter more production of video games in the superhero realm? Let me hear your thoughts.
Absolutely not, because just for the simple thing, there's one word that describes the reason why superhero games will always be made, no matter what time or what state of the world is: money. It's simply put that simple. When a superhero is popular, there will always be games made upon that character, or even if a publisher even gets a distinct hint of an up and coming character that might be super popular, like something that blows up overnight and become big,
Mm.
there will be some type of media push in some shape, form, or fashion that will push that character out there in front of as many eyes as possible.
Mm.
But with that being said, people still need to realize that if this continues, it will be like the recession of superhero games, because Maybe some of our younger viewers or listeners may not remember this, but there was a time where there were so many bad superhero games being pushed out the door. After a while, people didn't want anything to do with them, so they sat on shelves and they were put in bargain bins for younger people again.
Mm.
They may not remember this one gaming store called GameStop or Funko Land. Th- their discount bins would be full of course sport games because people buy them, beat them real quick, and they get tired of them,
Mm.
trade them in to get something else. But along with those bargain bin games, there were tons and tons of superhero games. For one, they were not made well, and two, there were just so many of them. So now, fast forward to now, we have all the publishers and developers have all this high technology. There should be no excuse at all that they can't make a competent, very, very good superhero game. And even though we do have all this technology, they still manage to do it. Look at Marvel's Avengers. That is a
Yeah.
proverbial and perpetual dumpster fire for all
Yeah.
time.
It just,
And
oh man.
yeah, it just leaves a sour taste in all, and not just superhero fans, gaming fans in general, because us as gamers, we all kind of have a intuitive connection to superheroes, and to see that crap come out, like it's like the highest people in the land decided to say, okay, here's superhero, like the essence of superheroes. Threw it in a trash can, took a big fat dump on it, set it on fire, put some raw cabbage in it, stirred it up, and then poured it
Oh
out, and decided that was the game that they were going to put out to the people.
my.
And so it's kind of disheartening. And but hopefully people can bounce back from this. And not only the gaming community, but the developers. Hopefully they saw what they did wrong and try not to do it again.
Huh. Well put. Well put. And so, that's why the Arkham games have spanned, such a long time. And I think they're going to continue to span a long time because they set the gold standard for ambition. And, the time that you're talking about where you said the superhero games were sitting in bins, I think having watched some documentaries on the Arkham games, there was a video producer who made one of these videos on YouTube and actually highlighted how important the work that Rocksteady did was when they released Batman Arkham Asylum, because superhero games had been sitting in the bins until they made their game, and their game came along and reshaped everything about superhero games, and have done so and have spanned that creation for decades because of their ambition and all. And so looking at something like Marvel's Avengers, looking at that, in retrospect, I think it would have been easier to have taken a Marvel superhero that already had their own movie line that was popular enough and made a game around that particular hero. And, if you look at the Avengers, there were enough of them that Disney had already fleshed out and, basically given their own character lines. Thor had his own movies. I think Thor had 3 movies. The first Thor, Dark World, and then Ragnarok. 3 Thor movies, that were more recent. I'm not even talking about maybe even the Incredible Hulk movies that were done before the Avengers. Then you also had Iron Man. You could have had a character based around Iron Man, just make a game around him and put different conundrums and maybe even throw the Avengers in there. Or even Captain America. I mean, I think a Captain America game would have definitely matched a Batman game if done well, because Captain America is such a popular hero that it would have been such a good job to have a person that many people can identify with, because he is that superhero that does have that aspect of being able to be identified with when it comes to what a superhero is. A regular normal guy that was super underpowered and by stroke of some scientific genius finds himself in a situation where the world depends on him, if you get what I mean. So I think that's probably the approach that should have been taken, because there's a, like you said, there's an intuitive connection that gamers have with superheroes. And so to slap all of them together, because you want to leverage a cinematic whatever, I don't think that really works. I think this would have been a wonderful opportunity for even a Black Panther game. I mean, think about it. Just one superhero that everybody already knows, and people already share kind of a connection to. And you're able to flesh out a 30-hour game. You're able to bring the villains that these heroes have that many people who may not be in the comic scene don't even know, and they get to experience, and you get to show off. Black Panther would have been the match, in my opinion anyways, when it comes to, the level of, I would say, wit and the level of influence that Batman has, say, in like this context versus, say, Wakanda. He's in an advanced society hidden in Africa that nobody knows about, and has access to, ginormous resources like Batman does, and is able to actually deal with issues because he is very well rounded and resourceful. So I think the next direction that needs to be, highlighted with video games would be the direction of taking single entity superheroes and making good, solid story experiences that are fleshed out, that are well structured around them. So that's just my take. Mr. Fat Ninja, what do you think superhero games should look like from now henceforth?
Oh, I definitely agree with what you said right there, Gamey. Could you just imagine taking Black Panther and putting him in the Batman Arkham games? Master of infiltration, check. Wealthy person, check.
Check.
Dogged determination to see things to the end, check.
Check.
Yeah, so it's a no-brainer. You just take one superhero from one IP and put him into another one. Just change up the environments, like maybe you're fighting through the jungles of Wakanda, maybe you're in the vibranium mines in Wakanda. And then you don't even have to keep it on Wakanda. Black Panther is an Avenger. He's traveled in through dimensions and all over the world, so you don't have to be stuck in Wakanda. You can be in New York. You can be in California. You can be in Asgard. You can be in various different dimensions with other superheroes from other dimensions. There are so many places that Black Panther can be staged in. It's really sad that we are gamers and we have more variety and more brain power to come up with something that would be good than the people that supposedly know what they're doing and have all the money and the power.
Yeah, that's usually what we see sometimes. I'm really like surprised that has not been leveraged. Capcom has done some stuff with the Avengers, like the Capcom versus Marvel type deals, but those were relegated to fighting games, and fighting games have a very niche appeal. It's wide, but it's very niche, especially the art style of the Avengers game. So Black Panther is, highlighted in the Marvel vs. Capcom, I think 2, the second one. But yes, a Black Panther game will definitely be a wonderful focus, something that I feel a lot of gamers will embrace. And, God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman, who just left us in at such a young age, being basically the on-screen representation of Black Panther. I thought he was the coolest representation and bringing to screen of a new character when he was shown off in I think it was Civil War. I think that wasn't that the first movie that he was shown off in before they did the Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that first appearance was just so powerful when he took off his mask. You know what I mean? Like when they apprehended all of them and he took off his mask, I thought to myself, this definitely has to come to a video game, in that sense, because that character, the way the character was portrayed, just bringing a lot more. Man, it was just well done, and I think this video should be titled "The Case for a Black Panther Game," for many reasons, and I think we're gonna title it that, in post production. But I think this is where video games need to go. There's a connection with the superheroes. There's a connection with the characters that surround the superheroes as well, and how they interact with them. And these things are what video games need to highlight. And as you said, they have the resources. They have what it takes. Yes, making a video game is challenging. We know firsthand now, having gone through the enterprise of investigating what it takes to make a video game and trying our hands on, some of the systems and some of the game engines and stuff. But at the end of the day, it really is an enterprise that I don't know why many publishers and many studios are refusing to deal with. But I guess I can rest my case here. If there's anything else you want to add, Mr. Fat Ninja, go ahead and let them know. I don't know. Is there anything else that you have to add to this conversation?
Well, okay. Okay. First off, who was the people that created Marvel's Avengers? That was Crystal Dynamics, right?
Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix published, yes.
Okay. So now the next time people come to Crystal Dynamics and ask them to make a superhero games, hopefully there's a samurai in there that can promptly cut their hands off before they raise their hands and say, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it again." Um, I just the people, the gaming people are outraged, and it's been showing with the horrible reviews of the game. So please, if you ever want to make another game like this, please go to the drawing board, and for all things that are holy, listen to the gaming community. And Square Enix, don't get me wrong, I love Square Enix. They
Same
have made
here.
some awesome games,
Same
of
here.
course.
Tomb Raider. Ooh.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Tomb Raider, Final
Final
Fantasy. All,
Fantasy.
yeah, I love y'all, but if y'all reach across to the gaming table again like that for superheroes, somebody please slap their hands and say no cookie for you. Don't do that.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny that you brought that up. That's funny.
but
But
but anyway, I'll go ahead and sign off. Because I'll start being on a rant, and this video will be like 45 minutes. So I've been Fat Ninja DM, gaming master, all around nerd, and social enlightenment through positive gaming. And with that, when you least expected it, I just stole your critical hit and your sandwich.
good
Later,
stuff.
folks.
Good stuff. We'll bring a second part of this conversation and maybe channel it to a different superhero, folks. So subscribe and stay tuned. Comment below. Let's hear your thoughts. I'm Gamey Daddy. Peace out.